So, you were in Baltimore City, Maryland on April 25th, 2015 during the riot/protestings in honor of Freddie Gray.
Yes.
Alright, so when you were called down to the city, what was your initial reaction?
When we first got there, it was the first night. It was Baltimore County, a couple other counties, Anne Arundel, Howard, and then out of state, like New Jersey state troopers were there. And first night was just crazy. I mean, they were throwing bricks at us. They were just calling us names and everything. I mean, it was just unpleasant to see, like, just a city torn apart by something like this.
So, what was your initial reaction when they called you down there to the city?
To be honest, I was kind of hoping I would be called down because I feel like I need to help out the community because it's my city, it's my state. I mean, I'll do anything to help anyone out, but it just was.
Were you intimidated when they first called you down? Like, were you scared or frightened by what you were going to walk into?
Well, yeah, of course I was. Of course I was frightened. I mean, we all had that initial fear because you don't know what you're going to be stepping into, but that's just part of the job.
What do you do? Like, what are some things that kind of, like, relax you and calm you before you go into, like, stressful situations?
I either listen to music. I mean, I just think of music or, think of my family. Like, stuff like that to keep me calm. Like, just not even thinking about it initially. Just going in with an open mind. Just nothing going on. Just that.
How did you feel when the mayor told the county police and city police to kind of stand down and just take what the rioters were doing to them in the city?
It was hard. It was really hard. The discipline that was shown by the city cops was amazing on their part in their riot suits.
Can you talk louder?
Yeah, I'm sorry. When the mayor told us that we had to keep calm, I mean, it was the right thing to do. But there were some moments when it was very hard. They were calling us names, throwing bricks at us. It took a lot of might not to do anything back, like, throw a brick back or, throw a cone back at them because they were throwing it at us.
So do you think the rioters had a good reason for why they did what they did? Or do you think Freddie Gray's death was just an excuse for them to act crazy?
The rioters were not part of the actual protesting for Freddie Gray's death. In my opinion, I think the rioters were there just to cause trouble because it was a good opportunity too.
Okay. And do you believe the rioters were in it for Freddie Gray, or do you think they were started out as protesters and they saw everybody else rioting, or they just went in the riot just for the heck of it?
Honestly, I think they were just a bunch of troublemakers. Who knows where they came from? They were not for Freddie Gray. If they were really fighting for Freddie Gray, they would be protesting peacefully in his behalf. The family stated that they wanted peaceful protesting, none of this rioting. Freddie wouldn't have wanted that.
Okay. And what do you think were the major differences between the rioters and protesters? Obviously the peace and the violent act, but what did the protesters do to maybe catch your attention?
Initial reaction with police. The rioters were violent towards us, physically and verbally. Protesters, I mean, you could tell the tension between the protesters and the police. But they gave us water, they gave us food, they were handing it out to us, we were handing it back. As you've probably seen online, there's plenty of pictures of little kids giving out food to the police and rider gear.
So even though you're just a cadet, when you got that call saying to go down into the city, what did you think your job would be as a cadet to do down there?
Honestly, I had no idea. I went in with the worst intentions and, well, it was a good mindset to have because it was crazy down there.
So, what exactly did you do down there, part of the police team?
They had me behind lines, just handing out water to the other policemen. They didn't really have me doing much. They didn't have any riot gear. They didn't have me give me any weapons. All I could carry was my pepper spray that I earned.
Did anybody try, like, attacking you personally? Or any instances where they made fun of you or looked down upon you?
Well, of course, there was always instances of us.
Can you name one?
Okay. It was the second night. And, of course, they were throwing their hands up in protest for Freddie Gray. And they were just down talking all the police, but I physically wasn't hurt by the protesters or rioters, just verbal abuse.
Gotcha. When the Coast Guard was called in to help you guys and help get the city at a halt, how did you feel about that?
Honestly, I was glad. I felt like if the National Guard did not come in, we would have a very, very hard time controlling that situation. It was already out of hand. The National Guard brought in a type of intimidation because they carried around assault rifles. As to the policemen, which were the targets, they didn't care. They see the National Guard Army uniform, the big old body vests, the boots, the Humvees. I think that was a good intimidation tactic.
Okay. And when the Coast Guard comes in, did you have to stay down in the city or finish anything? Did you have paperwork to do afterwards?
I personally did not have any paperwork because it did not happen in Baltimore County District. It happened in the city. So I'm sure the city cops have lots of paperwork to do regarding the protesting. We still were down there when the National Guard was down, but they were all, the rioters, protesters were very, very, very nice to the National Guard, but this other cadet that was a National Guard, he was stationed down there. There was 3 people from his troop and 1 police officer, and a protester came up and wished the safety to the 3 National Guard and did not say a word to the policeman, which was kind of interesting, showing that they don't want to interact with the police.
Okay. So when you got back, were you relieved, or did you want to go back and kind of help your city out?
I was relieved in a way. I was tired. It was a long 2 days. I was only down there for 2 days. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad to be back and, safe and sound. But if I could have stayed down longer, they needed me to, I would have, in a heartbeat.
Gotcha. All right, well, that's all I have, so thank you.
You're welcome.